All right, here we go. Salute to NBA Nation on this Wednesday afternoon. Another edition of the NBA Report, man. CP the Fanchise, Alex Trataros on the other side. Busy day, busy show. On today's show, is heat culture overrated? LeBron James, you know LeBron can't stay out of the news. We're going to talk about it. Lots of people had a lot to say about his tenure and legacy with the Miami Heat. We're going to react to that. Plus, the NBA was off last night due to Election Day, but tonight we got a big slate of games, and we're going to give you our top 5 games to watch tonight, get into the storylines, and react to it all. So lock in. Hit that like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel, the NBA Report, man. CP the Fanchise, Alex Trataros. So to everybody in the chat. Al, how you feel, man? We back at it, man.
We are back at it. More basketball on the way. It was weird, man. I had basketball on last night. That was strange.
It was tough, man. I heard you were running for mayor of Boston. But considering you're here today, I guess you didn't win. I guess you didn't win on Election Day, man. Wasn't a good one.
I did not win, man. I did not win. Although I don't think I would want to be the mayor of Boston right now, man. I think I just want to be the mayor of Knicks Nation, NBA Report Nation, something along those lines.
Absolutely, man. All right, let's get into it, man, because we got a lot to do, man. A lot going on around the league, but obviously, it's this LeBron James stuff is very interesting and something we got to talk about. So
it's amazing how LeBron James can he can be just chilling on his couch, man, and we get something about LeBron James. The media cycle around LeBron is just on a whole other level. When he retires, man, it will be interesting to see what other outlets do to keep their shows moving.
Absolutely, it's going to be very interesting, man. So. Here's the backdrop, right? So after the Lakers lost to the Heat a couple nights ago, lost by 1 to the Heat, controversial fashion, Lakers wanted fouls on LeBron, didn't get it, final 2-minute report, blah, blah, blah. Now, he tells Anthony Chang of the Miami Herald that he'd still be as dominant, and let's pull up the tweet, Daniel. LeBron says he'd still be as dominant if he never went to the Miami Heat. All right, so that one stirred up a lot of emotions, a lot of reactions around the league. And we got to start with the reaction of our guy, Stephen A. Smith, a.k.a. Screaming A. Smith. Let's hear what he had to say, and let's react to it all. LeBron, more dominant or just as dominant if you didn't go to Miami Heat? Let's hear what Stephen A. had to say about it.
But damn it, ain't no debate here. No. Because you're 1,000% correct. What the hell is wrong with you, LeBron? What the hell is wrong with you? Let me tell y'all something. LeBron James loses in Boston. When he goes to Miami, how does it happen? You got James Dolan talking about making him a billionaire. That didn't work. You got other teams looking at him. Pat Riley rolled up and put rings on the table.
Right.
Do you want these? Okay. Well, here's how you get them. Now, obviously, I've broken the story about how he's going to end up taking his talents to South Beach. But make no mistake about it. Do y'all understand the greatness of a Hall of Famer by the name of Dwayne Wade?
Yeah.
He was a great player. He was a great leader. Let's go back to LeBron's rookie year. LeBron,
All right. As Stephen A. basically saying, hey, man, the Heat made you who you are. Al, your thoughts on
that? Did the Heat make LeBron who he is? That's a tough one to actually break down, man, because he was considered like a chosen one, right? When coming out of high school. So he was already on radar, Sports Illustrated, stuff like that, dominant high school performance, right? I mean, heck, there's even a movie documentary about it. I don't necessarily think the Miami Heat, like without Dwayne Wade, it makes LeBron James. I still think if he stayed in Cleveland, he would still have been dominant, right? It's still impressive that he carried that Cavs team all the way to the NBA Finals. Would he be as successful as he is today without going to Miami? Probably not. I think what he learned in Miami, he was able to utilize and take back to the Cavaliers, and then working with Ty Lue as a head coach. That's why they're able to win a championship against the Golden State Warriors. That's why for so long you had that Warriors-Cavs matchup that we had to look at every single year. Who was going to win it this time? Was it going to be Kyrie, LeBron James, K-Love, or was it going to be the Warriors or even Warriors and KD, right? Steph and KD. Who was it going to be? I think he learned a lot going down to Miami because having to understand how to play with somebody like Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. You talk about 3 all-stars, right? You talk about 3 top talents on that team. That's not an easy accomplishment to do. Look, we just saw the Knicks play the Los Angeles Clippers first day where you have 4 top talents and the Knicks beat them. Not saying the Knicks are a terrible team, but you have that much star power, you think it would be automatic, but it's never automatic because people have to adapt to different roles. But I do think LeBron going down to Miami didn't make who he is today. I still think LeBron would have been LeBron James. You know, look, he was still getting the attention of, oh, when's LeBron going to win one? When's LeBron going to win one? The fact that he got one in Miami took that edge off a little bit more, but he's still been dominant. When he went back to Cleveland, he was dominant in Cleveland before going down to Miami, and he's still dominant in Los Angeles. So I don't see how. I think what LeBron is saying, if he's saying that he would have been better without going to Miami, I disagree with that because I think going to Miami helped him play even better in his second stint with Cleveland and their fourth.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Would he have still been the same dominant player in around the league? Absolutely. He's a generational talent, bro. Like, this is LeBron James we're talking about. Like, there's very few guys that come around that are built like him, that'll ever be like him. And let's not forget, I mean, this is a guy who went to the NBA Finals in just his 4th year in the league with guys like Daniel Gibson, Anderson Varejao, Sasha Pavlovich was on that team. Larry Hughes, good player. He was a hooper, but, never lived up to the hype. And by the time he got to that point, he was, not the same guy. Donnell Marshall. I mean, look, this is a team that he took to the NBA Finals. I mean, are we going to forget also about the 48-point classic game against the Detroit Pistons on ESPN? Beating Detroit basketball, kind of exercising his demons, like when Jordan kind of got past the Pistons, and taking that team against the San Antonio Spurs. That was a dominant season by LeBron James. I mean, he's been an all-star every year except for his rookie year. Of course, he was going to be the same dominant player. Now, when he got to the Heat, got with the culture, got into the culture, played with big superstars like a Dwayne Wade, like a Chris Bosh. Don't forget about Bosh. Because Bosh was just as good as a player. I mean, he was a dominant player in his heyday, right? He was just a dominant player in his heyday. And so when he got with that team, he got with better talent and he got with winners. He got into the Heat culture. Udonis Haslem, Ray Allen, you had Shane Battier in that mix. Right, Mike Miller, like you had all these guys. So obviously he grew up as part of his career. Like, that was a major part. And sure, you're going to take pieces of that with you as you mature in the league. Take that to Cleveland, take that to the Lakers, and win more chips. So, I mean, that's the biggest difference. Is like, because we are so basked in Heat culture, not going to the Heat. Would we be looking at LeBron James the same way? Probably not. Because it's hard to say, would he have won chips staying in Cleveland? Not likely. Not with that team. Right? They would have never been able to they would have never been bad enough to get a Kyrie Irving or a player like that. Would they have been able to make trades to get LeBron or Robin and another superstar? Hard to say. Right? Would it have been with the Bulls with Tibbs? Would it have been with the Knicks? Doubt it. I doubt it.
He was there for 7-8 years, CP, for his first stint in Cleveland. They didn't get him anybody to go be his running mate. I mean, you just listed off the guys. Was Anderson Varejao probably the top guy on that team they were talking about? That the only other guy who, to my knowledge, has another ring, right? So I don't understand why he wants to tarnish Miami in that manner. Like, even just throwing a little dig at them, right? And he himself is on record saying that his time in Miami was like a college experience for him. He has legit said that. And so when I think of when he says that was a college experience, what do you do when you go to college? You grow, you learn, you experience things that you've never experienced before, right? That's the whole purpose of college. So if that is truly and he's on record of saying that, then how can you still say that you'd be dominant without getting that type of experience? So it makes no sense to me why he'd even want to throw a dig like that. But it's just I don't know, man. Like I think for LeBron, man, like it's just the way that he keeps his name relevant in these circles, right? It's like he could just say anything he wants, do anything he wants, and then it's like, oh, whoa, what did LeBron say? We got to talk about LeBron. I mean, we talk about ESPN. It's they cover football, not the NBA. They cover LeBron, and they don't talk about hockey.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
When we say it's about LeBron, LeBron takes the center stage when it comes to basketball, man. So I think for him, like I get what he's trying to do here just to keep name relevance. Like he's done this before in so many fashions, but Miami was a big part. Like you're going to tell me not playing with Dwayne Wade didn't help you become a better player than you are. You're going to tell me not. Let's just say let's remove that Miami experience. You're going to tell me he knows how to win a championship with Kyrie Irving and what to say. You're going to tell me that he's going to have Anthony Davis, who struggled in New Orleans, didn't get out of a first round, right? You're going to tell me that LeBron James, without that experience in Miami, is going to lead the Lakers in the bubble to a championship? That does not make any sense to me. So for LeBron, I think him. Look, he's still going to be a great player regardless. That was never not the case. That's why he was touted as like one of the chosen guys coming out of high school. He was going to be phenomenal, generational talent, well-rounded game from the get-go, but it became even more polished after he went to Miami. So I think for LeBron, man, just stop, man. Like, just stop. You didn't need to do this. You did not need to do this today. You did not need to do this at all. Just appreciate what Miami gave you. You got the rings, because without going to Miami, guess what the jokes would have been? Oh, LeBron hasn't won one yet. Oh, when's LeBron? Yeah. Like, remember that every year. It's like, oh, he choked every year, man. When they lost to Dallas, that was the first thing they did. They're like, oh, he choked.
Yeah. And look, man, I mean, if you want to talk about dominance, this is a guy who in his 21st year in the league at 39 years old is averaging 25 and 8, playing 35 minutes a game. Yeah, I mean, still defying Father Time. Him and Father Time, he's the only one, man. He's the only one in NBA history to have a leg up on Father Time right now. He's got Father Time in a yoke. He's like, yo, I'm not ready right now. I mean, that's dominance. Is that all based on the Miami Heat run? No, obviously not. This is LeBron James. But as you said, they definitely deserve credit. Now, Gilbert Arenas is going the other way. Let's hear from Gilbert Arenas now. Let's hear from Hibachi. Never short on words. Let's hear what Hibachi had to say about LeBron James and the Heat culture and react to it. Let's go.
Heat culture should look like Golden State culture.
Why should it? Because it wouldn't be Heat culture.
Because it
would be Golden State culture.
No, what I'm saying is they drafted those players and built them. Right, you're pretending you're building these players because before LeBron got there, first round loss. It says 15 and 67, first round loss. Then LeBron and the crew came, and then they went to the championship, and then they won a championship, and then they won a championship, and then they went to the championship. LeBron left. Wade and the Heat culture and Bosh is still there. No playoffs.
I mean, he's saying no playoffs the year after LeBron left. He's been gone for 9 years. He missed the playoffs 3 times. And they've been going to the playoffs. They just came back from the dead last year from the in-season tournament to make it to the finals. How many finals appearances, Gilbert Arenas, did the Miami Heat make since LeBron James has left that team?
You know what's not fair to say about that team afterwards, CP, is that, yes, they did not make the playoffs that year, right? That Pacers team in 2014, 2015, the year that LeBron was back in Cleveland, they went 37-45. They finished 3rd in the Southeast Division. But let's also remember that Chris Bosh was not fully healthy that season. He only played 44 games.
Right.
Like, can we also put that into context of why they didn't make the playoffs? Okay. Chris Bosh, unfortunately, his heart could not last. right? In that regard, to be playing at that type of level. So for that, can we put that as the reason why too? Because I still think you have a Chris Bosh, like you have a Chris Bosh and a Dwayne Wade. That is more than enough to get to the playoffs. Absolutely. But we just need to add that little bit of nuance to that analysis, because outside of that, as you said, the Heat have been back. They did it with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo.
Right.
Like, come on, man. Like, we've seen even less. We saw that same Heat team face LeBron James in the finals in the bubble.
Right.
So, I don't know. That's a bit of a stretch for me to say.
It's a big stretch.
The year after LeBron left, they
just that year,
playoffs,
just that year, and then he drops a mic like he made a point. Like, no, Gil, you're missing a lot of context and nuance. And the Heat won before LeBron. They had Dwayne Wade. They had an incredible talent in Dwayne Wade. They still had Shaquille O'Neal, who, yes, he was on the downside of his prime, but it was still Shaq. They had talent. They had guys. They won the championship before LeBron. Like, the whole idea of culture and even Heat culture, it's just a standard. It's a standard in terms of how they coach. It's their front office philosophy. It's how they play. It's coming into camp prepared, right? The physical fitness test. All of this is Knicks culture from the 90s. Let's just keep it a buck.
The mentality, CP, the mentality.
This is what Mickey Arison wanted when he was watching the 90s Knicks. And this is how he enticed Riley to go over there, by giving him a piece of the team. He wanted the carbon copy. Riley went there. He built a carbon copy of the Knicks. They've been beefing Hatfield and McCoys ever since. But he took that mold from the 90s Knicks and created the Miami Heat. So it's just a standard. It doesn't mean that they're going to win championships no matter who they have. No, it's not that. But what encompasses the Miami Heat culture is the coaching, the front office, the attitude, how you play,
player development,
the leadership. Andre Iguodala talked about, players going there and nobody coming up in the news, and you in Miami of all places,
right?
So it's a maturity aspect. So that's what a culture is a standard. Like, San Antonio still has a Spurs culture. They just didn't between the Duncan run and now to Wemby, they didn't have that next generational star to keep it going. Now they do.
I'm going to make it a little bit more spicier, CP, because he talks about Warriors culture. I don't even know what that is, in all honesty. Like, I don't know what Warriors culture is, because we're still in this dynasty of Steph, Clay, Draymond, and yes, they're a mentality that they have, like the mentality that they want to win, right? I love how Steve Kerr runs that team. I love the philosophy that he brings. But for me to say there's a culture, that means you have to leave something and then get into another phase and still see that success, regardless of the talent, right? That it can still thrive. So I don't even know where he's going with Warriors culture. Warriors are a good team. Don't misunderstand me.
Right.
But it's like, that's a little too soon for me to say, oh, they got a Warriors culture in there. Let's talk about that after Steph leaves, after Draymond's gone, after Clay's gone. Let's see if that culture still exists. There's only two franchises that I know of. It's the Spurs and it's the Heat.
Yeah.
That's it.
Listen, a culture is only as dominant as the players that come through it and execute. Like I said, the Spurs have still been the Spurs. It's still been Pop. They had R.C. Buford for a number of years, right? Until they changed over. Like, they were still them. They were still there. They just didn't have the talent to put it all together. So, look, I think LeBron coming to the Heat and winning those championships, it was a perfect storm, the perfect confluence. I mean, what other team in the NBA was able to put a team together like Riley did with that Miami Heat team and go on that run? Teams are still trying to emulate that Big Three process from that time. You get what I'm saying? Like, and it's not to say that Big Three eras are new, because they really haven't been. Every championship team in NBA history has had two or more dominant stars on that team for the most part. 90% of the champions, right? But I'm talking about the way that they built that Heat team, where in just 1 year you had LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade on one team. I mean, that was insane what Riley did, and teams are still trying to kind of emulate that to no success.
Yeah, where two players that you get are through free agency, and you only have one drafted player that's still on top, that's like, and that was Dwayne Wade. Most of these teams that you look at that dominate or have that type of success, like you go to the Bulls, it's Pippen and Jordan that lead the way, and then you also have Dennis Rodman. Before that, it was Horace Grant, right? Horace Grant was was essentially who Dennis Rodman replaced for the first 3 runs with the Chicago Bulls. But even still, you go through that whole line, like what the Warriors have. You talk about Draymond, Steph, Klay, all guys drafted by the Warriors. You talk about the Spurs, it's Tim Duncan, it's Manu, it's Tony. Like that's why when you talk about it, it's so weird what the Heat did. Still hasn't been replicated, man. Like it's so difficult to get people through free agency and then figure out how are you going to draft and build something around them. That's just, it's not impossible because we saw the Detroit Pistons do it.
Yeah.
But it's not as common, right? And if you do get a second dominant star like what the Lakers did, it's, hey, we got Shaq from Orlando. Hey, we got Powell from Memphis. You know, it's not impossible, but usually you have one of those guys already in-house. So they're still trying to do it. The one thing I do like is that we don't really have that typical big three. I think there's been more parity around the league. Like, sure, you got the Clippers who have all 4 of, those star power, all 4 of those guys on the team with Harden, Russ, Kawhi, and PG, but they haven't done anything. We have to see if they do this year because they're pushing their chips in, but we'll see, man. But Heat culture, that exists. LeBron, you benefited off of that Heat culture.
Sure. I absolutely did, man. But and they did benefit off of the Knicks culture. So we'll put the stamp on it.
That's a fact.
And wrap the reactions for there. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel, the NBA Report on the ones and two, CP the Fanchise, Al Trataros. The 3 p.m. time, I want to shout out Damon Yearwood in the chat. Al says CP Alex, salute. We got, of course, we got our Spurs fans in the building. Shout out to Jay Ray. We got Michael Powell in the building. I'm a Dog Garcia, Bodega Mayor. Salute to TM. Salute to JJ, our mods. Eric L. Beats, my guy Eric Beats in the chat. Gotta be legend checking in from Costa Rica. Let's go. My 2 cents also in here, man. So salute the families in here. We are live and direct. I'm getting ready. I got to get ready to go head to the Garden after this show. So we're going to talk about the games of the night, man. NBA back tonight. Election day was over. No games last night. And even though I am headed to the Garden now, first game we got to talk about that I'm looking forward to watching tonight. It's the battle of the Eastern Conference Titans, man. 5-1 Celtics. I hate talking about this. I really hate talking about our rivals in such a glowing fashion. But you got 5-1 Celtics. You got 5-1 Sixers. And in a battle of Eastern Conference supremacy, the rivalry renewed. And 2 teams that seem to be almost headed on the collision course right now, man. I mean, both teams, you got the Sixers 5th, Celtics 4th in the league defensively. Both teams tied in offensive rating, depending on which statistical website you're looking at. Some have them at 2nd, some have them tied at 4th. Hey, I'm looking forward to this matchup, man. Obviously, these 2 teams going 7 games last year in the playoffs, and these 2 teams are going to tango in Philly tonight at 7 p.m. What's your thoughts on this matchup tonight?
Who would have thought? I'm going to start off with this. Who would have thought that after losing James Harden, who was their major facilitator for that team and an important scorer last year, that this team is 5-1 at the beginning of the season? I thought this team was going to struggle a little bit coming out of the gate, but seems like Daryl Morey knew what he had in-house from the get-go with Tyrese Maxey and knew what Tobias Harris would come back around and be himself. And let's talk about the signing of Kelly Oubre Jr., man.
Kelly Oubre doing numbers over there, man. Yeah.
My goodness.
Talk about it.
He's hooping right now, averaging 18 points right now, and is the 4th leading player in minutes. So that's right behind Tobias Harris. So this team has just been playing really well. Joel Embiid, I mean, they almost scored 150 points the other night, CP. They almost scored 150 points. He had Joel out here just making it look easy. And then, of course, Tyrese Maxey, man, he's just been phenomenal this season. I'm very curious to see how this matchup goes because the Celtics are a deep team. Philly, even though they got deeper after the Harden trade, you got Nicholas Batum, who's contemplating retirement right now. Does want to move his family from LA. We'll see what happens with that. I want to see if Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey are enough to go against this hot Celtics team, who I was also wrong about this right now, man. I'm going to say, like, I thought they were going to take some time to gel and for the Celtics to be a cohesive unit right off the rip. This team is fluid. And I think it's more so unlike the Clippers, where everyone understands their role and not everyone on this team was like that top dog superstar, right? Like Drew was never the number one, or even like maybe he was the number two guy out in Milwaukee, but he was asked to be more like, even though he's still been an all-star, he's still a top defensive player. He's never asked to be that, like that superstar presence. He's been asked to be more of like that guy who calms everything down, to be that facilitator, to be that tone setter, in the sense that, all right, let's figure out what we need to do. Who's going to get the ball right here in these moments? And he understands the big moment from winning a championship. And then KP flamed out in Dallas. That didn't work out with him and Luka. Has a bounce back year in on the Wizards team that was still bad, but it looks like he understands, like, look, this is a Tatum and Brown team where they need me to fill in offensively. I can do that, and defensively, I'll be the rim protector to the best of my ability. So I think that has made it an easy transition for them. But both these teams have just impressed out of the gate, man, for the changes they both had to go through, and kind of like off season. I won't say Philly dealt with drama. I don't know if you can call it drama with the Celtics, but they still had off-season conversations that were highlighted every single day. So it was just interesting how both these teams have navigated those waters.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that. And, I was one counting out the Sixers, especially after the Harden fiasco. Maybe that was just wishful thinking for me to want to see it all burn as a Philly hater and hoping to get Embiid to the Knicks a little bit sooner, trying to expedite the process. No pun intended. However, they're playing some great ball, man. They are playing some, but Maxey's, I wouldn't say emergence, because I thought that was last year for him. But him ascending to that Robin role with Harden leaving is very important, and is critical to their success. And he's handled it like a G, man. He's absolutely torching the league right now. And I'm not sure what's more impressive with Maxey right now, his scoring ability. He's averaging 25 points per game, or his assists. 7 dimes for Maxey on the season so far. He had 11 assists, no turnovers in their win against the Wizards, man. So he's moving the ball very well. He's scoring very well in this Nick Nurse offense. Maxey looks great, looks absolutely fantastic. He's certainly handling that. And I think this is a good measuring stick matchup for him. Even though in the playoffs, I thought he was fairly solid in the playoffs, I think this is a good measuring stick for him going up against Drew Holiday. Derek White might be coming back tonight. This is a good one for him. Also for Philly as well, losing in Game 7 and Embiid having a terrible game in Game 7. I think Philly, this is a more important game for Philly to make a statement and say, listen, we're on par with these guys. These guys are hot out the gates, but we're on par with these guys, and we're right up there for Eastern Conference supremacy. So you talked about Kelly Oubre. He's playing fantastic ball. I did like the depth pieces that they picked up. Batum is starting to get into the lineup now. You have Marcus Morris. He got some playing time in their win against the Wizards. We'll see how they fare. You still have Pat Beverly and those guys there. Paul Reed playing well. So, they've got some pieces, man, and their depth is certainly playing well. So let's see what happens in this game tonight. And then for the C's, look, man, they're clicking on all cylinders. You gotta love how they're running with Porzingis and with Holiday so far. No rust, as you said. I'm looking forward to seeing Porzingis and Embiid match up tonight, how that's going to impact things. Also looking at Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday, career lows in shooting so far, 6 games into the season. Now, is that as a result of his role? Is it, his role in the offense? Is that him taking a step back? Want to see how that progresses over not just tonight, but over the course of the season. Drew Holiday's numbers coming down a bit, but look, he's got options, man. You got options, and the way the Celtics are spraying the ball, passing the ball around, and shooting those threes, it's a Tatum Brown offense. Porzingis tertiary, sometimes secondary, and everybody else is kind of flowing off of that. But so far, man, Boston is looking every bit as advertised right now.
Absolutely. And just to clarify, I mentioned Batum talk about retirement. It's now been clarified. Just found it that he's not considering retirement. He didn't know where that statement came from. He's happy to be in Philly, and he's not retiring or anything, is what he said. He just had to take care of some business, some family matters, which is where the uncertainty came from. So it looks like he's ready to stay, man. It looks like he's ready to stay and ball in Philly for right now. So just wanted to clear that. But CP, going to some statistics though.
Yeah.
You're looking at Boston, who offensive rating number 2 in the league, 119.9 points. And then you got Philadelphia 76ers, same thing. They're third right now, even though they both have the same offensive rating. Defensive rating, Celtics are 4th, Sixers are 5th. This is going to be a good test, man. This is going to be a really good test of these two teams to see where everyone stands in the East right now. Obviously, it's still early, but still, we think about last year, as you mentioned, how this game went to 7-game series. The Sixers flamed out. Yeah. You got a new look team. Is this the team that can take down the Celtics this season? Is this the team that can do it? Because right now, it's these two teams have this game match, right? Outside of the cities just hating each other, right? Because we already get that.
Yeah.
But these two teams also have it circled for 2 reasons. Tatum was MVP conversation last year, and Embiid won MVP. Both these teams want to win. Both these teams have come up short for based how much hype they've gotten over the past couple of years. So you better believe that these two teams got it circled saying, all right, who's going to take command of the East? And let's not forget tiebreakers, stuff like that. One of these teams wants to come out being the divisional winner because that's going to help them with the standings.
No question about it, man. I also got to big up fellow Long Islander, man, Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris, man, again, that's my people's only 6 games in, shooting the cover off the ball right now. 19 points per game, damn near 20. He's adds 6 rebounds to the mix. Effective field goal percentage of damn near 70%. Shooting 40% from 3. And where's he at from 2? 73% from 2. Overall, 63% Tobias Harris shooting from the field. He's playing a strong game right now, man. I think the hard and subtraction, as you could argue, between Maxey and Harris, who's benefited the most. But he looks to be back, and 1.3 steals right now. So he's been very opportunistic on the defensive end. Tobias Harris playing well, man.
Playing well. He's playing well, man. And for a guy who's been I guess, but has been pushed down the totem pole, right? Yeah. Every single time. It's like, no, we're going to get James Harden in here. No. We're going to figure out who else that we can get in here to help subsidize the scoring and figure that out. Tobias Harris, man. He's looking like he's still the same Tobias Harris that was like on the Clippers, that was in Detroit, and it's now playing on the Sixers, man. Good for him. Good for him to have a strong start to the season. Let's see if he can keep it up, though.
Absolutely. So to Barbara Carroll, D-Block 1755 in the chats, is definitely a measuring stick for Philly. Michael Powell says big worry about Boston is their bench and their depth. JJ says Philly needs one more piece. So looking forward to that one tonight. All right, next game, Al. We talked about LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers losing to the Miami Heat on the road. Lakers so far winless on the road, and they will head to H-Town to take on the young upstart Rocket team, man. This young upstart Rocket team led by Ime Udoka, 3-3 on the campaign. Lakers 3-4 on the campaign, looking for their first road victory. Let's talk about some of the storylines, man. You got Dylan the Villain versus LeBron James. Rivalry renewed. And I think, get your popcorn ready. Get your popcorn ready. But think about this. Everything LeBron James does is very calculated. You see how much he was protesting after the Heat loss against the Lakers with the foul calls. Tonight he goes up against Dylan the Villain. Look for Dylan Brooks to pick up 2 quick fouls in the early part of this game. I say within the first 5 minutes, Dylan Brooks is sitting on the bench. Yeah.
Or does Dylan Brooks go a complete 180 from that and goes nuclear from the field? I'm not buying that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Hey, let's see. He was talking very spicy on the Grizzlies team. All right. Let's see if he can walk. Let's see if that talk that he talks, he can match it with that walk. But It's gonna be an interesting game, man. I like what this Rockets team's doing for such a young team under Ime Udoka. 3-3, very young. Fred VanVleet's been a good guard for them, kind of helping those guys organize and set up the offense. Dylan Brooks, I think, even though for how much he can get clowned around the league and so forth, I like the defensive intensity that he brings to this team and kind of the leadership that they need in order to play defense at a high level. So between those two as your backcourt, I like what the Rockets got going on right now, man. I like how Sengun's been playing. I think Jabari's been playing a lot better than what we saw last season. So I like how this Rockets team is heading and the direction they're going in right now. As for the Lakers, you got to be a little disappointed in how you come out the gate. You're 3-4. Anthony Davis has been good, but for a guy who's supposed to be the number 2 star, has come up short in the fourth quarters at times and just has vanished. And now you got to rely on LeBron James, who so much for that minutes restriction, CP.
No, that's out the window. It's out the window. No,
we're gonna rest this guy because we need him at the end of the season.
No.
Oh no!
Bro, listen, bro. We said it after the first game with the minutes restriction. AD is gonna go down, and the Lakers are gonna need LeBron James. They need him. You're not relying on Cam Reddish out there, right? So Magic Johnson ain't walking through that door. So look, this team is still gonna go as far as a healthy LeBron James can take them.
Did you hear
with AD out, it's going to be even more important. Good.
Did you hear what Cam and Mace had to say about Cam Reddish today?
I did. Shout out.
Oh my goodness! They called
shout out to Cam and Mace. Good.
To be a vagabond.
Yeah. Shout out to Cam and Mace, man. Anthony Davis questionable for this game. We'll see if he comes back from the hip injury that he suffered. Street clothes. Is that what they call them? Street clothes? Street clothes is questionable. For the Rockets, how about this, man? The entire starting 5 of the Rockets averaging double figures, at least 14 points per game. I think that's excellent. That's excellent.
I think it's excellent, but I also think it's to the lack of like true star power on that team, right? Because if you had, let's say if they had actual stars, like there'd be more like shots for somebody and someone's taking less than, but for how this team's constructed, they should be sharing the rock the way that they are. And there should be a lot of guys getting into double figures because this team, once again, very young team, not a lot of star power, right? I like Fred VanVleet, but he's not a superstar. He's good, not a superstar. But they should be getting double figures. But that's why they're 3-3 right now, because you have to be creative offensively and play as a unit on defense. They have no room for like, okay, tonight we'll have LeBron James like for the Lakers where he can drop 45 and it's okay that everyone else shoots poorly. We can still be in this game or potentially win. Same thing with Anthony Davis, right? So but that's cool though. That's cool. It's nice to see.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you talk about Dylan the Villain. Shout out to who just said this in the chat. I'm a Dog Garcia says Brooks' shooting percentage is ridiculous right now. He's shooting 59% from the field. So maybe there's some FIBA carryover for Dylan Brooks. We always talk about who are the players that are going to step up after international play. Maybe it is Dylan the Villain. And look, he serves an important role for this team. You say what you want about the contract. Yes, it was a big one for him, but you're bringing in a defensive-minded coach. You're going to need a defensive-minded player to kind of anchor that team. This is a young Rockets team who hasn't been able to be taken seriously in a long time since the Harden era, since the Harden D'Antoni era. If you're bringing in a defensive head coach, you're going to need like your quarterback. And so that's Dylan Brooks for this team, for this young team. Bring that attitude, bring that toughness. And now he's bringing some shooting. So that's a good thing. Jabari Smith Jr. Talked about looking forward to this revenge game in terms of his matchup with Anthony Davis. So hopefully Davis plays. We'll get to see Jabari Smith Jr., who's playing some good basketball in his second year, go up against AD. And then Tari Eason, one of my favorite young players to watch. Tari Eason could be coming back into this game. So Rockets get another defensive wing in there. Hey, let's see what happens, man. Rockets at home.
Do you think Dylan Brooks walks into that young Houston locker room wearing the boxing gloves with some stunner shades on and then puts down the bronze medal that he says, look, man, you could have this too.
This can be you. This can be you, man. Straighten up. You
Second
know?
question for you. Do
Yeah.
you think he has a debate with Fred VanVleet saying, hey, who's done more for Canada right now? Me for making it relevant again in basketball, for you helping win the first championship for the Raptors.
Exactly. Exactly, man. So looking forward to playing that one. And Dylan Brooks said he's gonna lock LeBron up. That's hilarious.
Okay.
Daniel, we have that soundbite, or we just we just hovering over it right now.
Okay.
Okay, all right, we don't have it. All right, so we'll move on for that one in the interest of time. Next one on the docket, the MSG debut of Victor Wembanyama, Al, the 7'5" phenom and the San Antonio Spurs coming into town to take on our guy, the Block Nest Monster, Richard Robinson, and the New York Knicks. Knicks getting their first home win of the season against the Clippers on Monday night. What's your thoughts on this one? I'll be there. I'll be in the building. It's Kith night too. Yeah, nice. Right after this, I got to get my Kith outfit in my KFTV unit. You know what I mean? I'm going a little mashup out there. I'll be in the building tonight. I'm looking forward to it. Star-studded, yeah.
Well, this is going to be the second time you watched Wemby in person?
That's it, yeah. Yeah, okay. I was there for Summer League, man. Yep.
So you're saying I want a better performance than what I saw in Summer League?
Yeah. Well, no, because I want the Block Nest Monster. I'm looking forward to the Block Nest Monster, Mitchell Robinson, guarding Wemby, or will it be our guy Broadway Barrett, RJ Barrett guarding Wemby, man? This is going to be interesting.
Or is it going to be Julius Randle and really get it done? Ooh.
I mean, I think you're going to see a little bit of everything, man.
Hey, Devin Vassell. Probably not playing tonight. I think is he out? Did we get the confirmation that he's out tonight?
Let's see. I'll check.
He's on he's a game time decision.
Okay.
As what it says today. But if there's no Vassell, and Keldon Johnson's also a game time decision as well. Okay. If you don't have Devin Vassell, I like the Knicks' chances. If you do have Vassell, I'll be interested to see how this team performs. But I'm still curious to see how Mitchell Robinson handles Wembanyama, because we saw what Kristaps Porzingis did. It's funny that he actually quotes that he's kind of like a KP and then threw Bobo in there, but he didn't do too well against KP. So, and we see when Mitch has to defend a center that can shoot the three ball or any big man, it causes a little bit of problems for him, man. I mean, we even saw that in the Milwaukee game against Brook Lopez. So Mitch is still going to have a challenge against Wembanyama. I still think Mitch should be the victor because, one, he has been in the league for 6 seasons now. He has the experience. I get the star power and how impressive Wemby's been to start it off, but Mitch is strong. I think if you're just going to rely on Wemby to be a shooter on the perimeter, you're throwing the Spurs are throwing themselves into the Knicks' favor of winning this game. So it'll be interesting to see how Wemby, if Mitch is defending him the entire time, how that matchup goes. But I like the Knicks' chances in this game, man. It's a young team. Spurs are a young team. I know what they did against the Suns is very impressive. I'm still impressed by it as well. But you're going to get games like that where the Spurs, as for a young team, are going to show up and show out against top talent, and then they're going to revert, showing you the inconsistency of what a young team is. And I don't know how the Spurs are feeling about the Knicks. Personally, like, yes, there's history between the Knicks and the Spurs just from having to face each other in the 99 finals. But outside of that, this is not like you're playing KD, like one of the top players in the NBA. Like, the Knicks should be a good team in the East, but I don't think it necessarily holds that same thing for like Wemby as like, oh, we're playing Kevin Durant, we're playing Devin Booker. Let me show you how good I really am. Let's show how good this team really is. I don't know. I don't think they're going to come in there with that same edge.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they step up for it. Let's hear from Victor Wembanyama. He's at Madison Square Garden talking about his MSG debut and what it means to him, man. Let's go to the Wembanyama soundbite. So to everybody in the chat, hit that thumbs up button for you boys.
Yeah, pretty incredible. You know, it's not as big as I expected, but still the vibe is here. A tough game, you know, physical and passionate fans. Surprises, of course, but I'd say mostly it's what I expected, you know, and the players are just the best in the world, and it's incredible being surrounded by such talent. Of course, yeah, it does. You know, it's I've heard from so many people that this is the best basketball, you know, gym in the world, and I'm just, I'm eager to find out. But I'm definitely expecting some good team and individual performances here. Yeah, very, I really like the vibe from here.
Yeah. There you go. So he talked to a lot of people, heard it's a good place to play, and then he hit up Evan Fournier. He said, "Don't ever come here in the future. This place is a cesspool. Stay with San Antonio for the rest of your life. I'm out of here. I'm riding my scooter back through Central Park. I'm going home. I'm just here for shoot around, but then I'm going home on my scooter. I'm out of here. Don't ever come here. It's a cesspool. Don't ever come here." but look, I'm just curious to see who's gonna match up with this guy, because if we're gonna put Mitch on him and he's gonna pull Mitch away from the basket, but he's also gonna be able to put it on the floor. And that's the thing, like KP Porzingis, he's not as nimble as he was pre-ACL youngster, but he can still put it on the floor. But with Wembanyama, I mean, he's got way better handles and agility than KP.
Oh, that's going to be look at this highlight right here.
Yeah, that is going to be a huge test for Mitchell Robinson in terms of his discipline and the Knicks rim defense. Knicks right now number 13 in the league in terms of opponents scoring at the rim. Mitchell Robinson being a big factor in that. If Wemby's going to pull him out, how does that open things up for the rest of the team? If Kelton Johnson plays, I think it's very interesting that Wemby matchup. I'm going to be very interested to see how the Knicks defend his ability to not only space the floor, shoot the three, but also put the ball on the floor as well.
I think that matchup, like, I think Mitch is going to win that matchup, right? But it's not going to be by a large margin, in my opinion. I think Wemby's still going to get his. I think we're going to see a lot of mixing between, do we throw Randall, who's got the strength, or do we use Mitch, who has strength and height on Wemby? It's going to be interesting, man, because as I'm watching these highlights right here, it's just like, I don't know, man. This is not a typical big. This is nothing. Yep. This is so different. So different. I mean, he's doing spin moves easily, and still cradling that ball, man.
Yeah.
Sheesh. It's going to be a good one.
I am dog. Garcia says Wemby 5 blocks, over or under tonight? 5 blocks.
Who's he getting the blocks on?
Yeah. RJ?
Well, see, they put Collins out there, so Collins is the rim protector. I guess they haven't Wemby float around.
Yeah. I'll go with the under. I'll go with the under tonight.
Better be the under.
Okay, let's go to the next game in the interest of time. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to Knicks Take Jake in the building laughing at the 48 comment. Yeah, absolutely. Who else we got here? This Denver Golden State game would have been much more intriguing if everybody's healthy, but Denver's going into this one without Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray is going to be missing some time here. What's it saying here? Was it a hamstring? I just lost my notes here. Jamal Murray, hamstring. So Murray's out with a hamstring. You got Draymond Green out with personal reasons. Gary Payton II out. Oh, he's questionable, not out. He's questionable. But nevertheless, you got 6-2 Golden State going in against 7-1 Denver Nuggets, the champs, looking unstoppable so far. Picking up right where they left off. Even though no Murray, their depth has still been on display. Offensively, defensively, right up there in the top 10 of the NBA. For the Suns, I mean, hey, so far so good for the CP3 experiment. I think I just saw something like 62 assists to 9 turnovers for CP3 in that Warriors lineup, man. So far so good.
CP3 is doing exactly what the Warriors aim to do: be that facilitator and that lead guard off the bench, own and run that second unit. It's looked great so far. But to your point, CP, as with the injuries, it would have been more interesting if you had Murray in there tonight, if you had Draymond Green. Peyton is questionable. I mean, even Jokic is on the injury report. It seems he's probable to play tonight, but he also has a wrist injury. So we'll see if they want to even risk putting him out there and whatnot. But if these two teams were healthy, this is the match that you need to watch, because Warriors 3rd in the West right now. Nuggets still showing that they're a dominant team. They're number 1 in the West right now. These two teams to me are the teams to watch out for when it gets to playoff time, because I think this could be the Western Conference Finals matchup that we get, man. And it'll be interesting to see, is it the reigning champs that come back and say, hey, we're starting the dynasty over here. We're the next in line for this dynasty. Or is it the Golden State Warriors? No, we're not done yet. This dynasty is still running. I think this would have been the game for me to watch, CP. This would have been the game after the Knicks is over. I'm throwing this on right now. I want to know what's happening, because this would have been the circle for the same thing for like the Sixers and the Celtics, man. It's the measuring stick.
Tonight, though, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just another game now.
Definitely a measuring stick. Had these guys all been healthy for Golden State, I believe health is going to be one of the biggest question marks in terms of how can they make it to the big show. Offensively, I think they'll be fine. You see what CP3 is bringing for this team, especially coming off the bench. That has been a success. But I got to see, one, can they stay healthy? Draymond's starting to get nicked up now. And how do they defend? How do they defend when this thing gets tough? How do they defend teams like the Clippers? How do they defend Denver? The team that they're going to see when Jamal Murray is fully healthy. And, when he's clicking on all cylinders, who are they going to put out there to stop him? Where will Andrew Wiggins be, both physically and mentally? Because to me, as their not true wing, because you still have Kuminga out there, but one of their better wings, their best wing, his role is going to be very important. For the champs, look, I'm putting them right back in there in the finals until I see otherwise. Look, this team is just, they're locked and loaded. And I'm not sure you see a more well-balanced and complete, comprehensive team right now than the Denver Nuggets. And it's what's most impressive is that, you lose a guy like a Bruce Brown, you lose some of your key contributors, you lose a Jeff Green, and guys are stepping right in. Between Strother, you got a number of guys, man. Aaron Gordon obviously doing his thing, but they got a number of new players in here now, man, that are just doing their thing and just complimentary players to how Jokic and Mike Malone want to run their offense.
My thing for Denver tonight, though, since they don't have Jamal Murray, my question is, okay, you don't have Jamal Murray, you don't have your second superstar for tonight. Maybe you don't even have Jokic. We'll see what happens. But if Jokic does play, how do you handle not having Jamal Murray, and how are you able to maintain without him? Because I think, Jamal Murray, he's dealt with an injury in the past, right? And it's a long season. There are going to be nights where he's not playing. How does Reggie Jackson step up to be that facilitator for this team? That's going to be a question for me. If Reggie Jackson's not doing it, where else are they going to get that secondary facilitating outside of Nikola Jokic? The second thing for me is that Jamal Murray, because he's such a good scorer, does Michael Porter Jr. step up to being that scorer? Because he's been a mixed bag, man. It's a bit, especially in the finals last year, absolutely a mixed bag. But for Michael Porter Jr., who they gave the extension to, all the hype during his draft, and we've seen times where he looks like that guy that was drafted, the guy who can be that lethal scorer, three-level threat. But he's just been inconsistent, man. So I want to see, can Michael Porter Jr. for tonight step up and be that guy? I'm not looking at that for Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon is supposed to be your defensive guy.
He's got to play his role.
He legit, he's close to being like Draymond, where he's a superstar in his role. Aaron Gordon, that's what he's supposed to do. KCP, that's your 3-and-D guy. He's your shooter. But Michael Porter Jr., you got to be that guy tonight if there's no Murray, to show that, hey, when someone's down, we get Reggie Jackson stepping up to be the starting point guard. I'm going to be that guy who gives you the offense that you need, so that way we can stay in this game and win.
They went 10-7 without Jamal Murray last year. So far, 1-0 without him. They had an impressive win over the Pelicans at home without him. So let's see how they fare there. And then the fifth game of the 5 to watch tonight. Will Bradley Beal finally play a game? Will we finally start to see the Phoenix Suns close to full strength? We've only seen Bradley Beal and Devin Booker play together for 2 games. No Devin Booker in this one, as the Suns visit the Bulls in Chicago. 3-4 Suns, 3-5 Bulls. But Bradley Beal is questionable as he comes back from a bad back injury. And hey, the question is, how will he look? How will he look? How does that offense continue to gel? And when will we see the big three that Phoenix Suns advertised? When will we see that big three together? Time will tell, but I'm looking forward to seeing how Beal and KD looks with the Suns unit against the Chicago Bulls.
I think it's going to be like this for most of the season, CP, where you're going to have one of these guys in the rotation and out. I mean, you had D Book and Beal missed time. It was KD against Wemby. Let's not forget that. Then Book comes back. We're just going to see this musical chair act of, hey, 2 of these 3 players are going to be in the starting rotation and healthy for tonight. You want to see it. I want to see it too, because this team's very top heavy. They did round out their team very well after moving DeAndre Ayton and to get even better depth and more complementary pieces. But this team is only going to go as far as all 3 of those guys on this roster. Devin Booker, awesome. KD is still KD. Bradley Beal, awesome, legitimate scorer. But as we saw in his time in Washington, being the sole act, he's not enough. So for Phoenix, you better hope these guys can stay healthy, and especially at the right time, because they're 3-4 to start the season. It's not a panic button. Not saying that at all. But 3-4 to start the season, what it's showing me is that this team may not have enough to get you to the finals, if that's what you're expecting, because you can just look at the Nuggets, right? That team is deep. That team is a well-oiled machine. That's who you got to think about going against. You got to think about going against the Warriors, who added Chris Paul, who's been playing well. If I'm Phoenix right now, I'm thinking, do we need to add somebody else that's going to be a little bit more healthy? Not necessarily a star, but do we need to add something else by the deadline? Because as of right now, that's how I'm thinking for this team.
True indeed, man. And then on the other side, you have the Chicago Bulls, 3-5 on the campaign. 3-5 on the campaign right now.
CP.
Obviously, this is the DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine show in Chicago. So I want to see, what I'm interested to see is, hey, Suns perimeter defense. How do they contain these guys? How will they get a guy out there in front of LaVine and DeRozan? Josh Okogie is going to be busy tonight. KD as well. Those 2 guys are going to draw the primary assignments on DeRozan and LaVine. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. The Bulls, Bulls scrap on defense as well. I want to see the Bulls 3-point defense against the Phoenix Suns. Can they keep them from scoring from downtown? I think that'll be one of my keys. Also, I've never really liked this Bulls bench ever since they made the Vucevic trade. They've been struggling.
Never liked this Bulls team, man. Point blank.
Never liked this Bulls team. Never liked this Bulls team. Keep it a bean, right? But I think one of the keys could be going to the bench. I think the Suns are a more deeper team, obviously. When Chicago gets to the bench, things can get a little bit dicey. Like, obviously, Patrick Williams is a guy who's going to be in the spotlight with the contract situation. Is he going to ascend to that level where he's actually going to be worth it? But other than that, they really have no firepower off of the bench like that consistently night in, night out. And I think that's part of the problem with the Bulls, is you're going to rely too much on your big 3, and they still haven't solved their depth issue. So going to be an interesting game to watch tonight as well, man. Going to be an interesting one.
I just don't like this team, CP. I mean, it would have been better if Lonzo was healthy, but because you don't even know the status of Lonzo for the future, it's just rough. Are you blowing this team up, CP? Like seriously, you're blowing this team up? What? Like, I don't even know why you're trotting this out. I mean, they had the players meeting early in the season. Zach LaVine, they still lose with a 50-point performance. I mean, as this is the definition of mid. Like, you're playing team. You're not good enough to lose to get into the high lottery, but you're not good enough to actually compete in the playoffs. I just blow this thing up, man. This thing has ran its course for a short amount of time. But what do you do, CP? If you're the Bulls, what do you do? Because you did the Vooch trade. You traded for DeMar DeRozan. What do you do?
Well, it starts with trading. I mean, if and when they do decide to blow it up, right? Because look, this team is not going to go anywhere, right? So it's going to start with trying to trade the Zach LaVine. I think that's your most prized asset, if you will. They're going to run the risk. I think by the deadline, they're going to have to see where they are, because DeRozan's going to be a free agent coming up. So you might have to see, hey, do we need to pay off DeRozan right now? Can we get a first-round pick for him for somebody that's desperate? Maybe somebody loses a perimeter threat to their offense, a contender. Is there anybody desperate out there that needs a DeMar DeRozan on a half-year rental, willing to put up as much as a first-round pick? Take a look at that. And then I'm trying to trade Levine as well. That's going to be your most prized asset. Then you try to trade Vucevic, and you start over, man. You got to recoup your picks, get back to the bottom, and get back to it. Right now, they're treading water in no man's land with really no room to elevate themselves. So I think the Bulls are going to be a little bit stuck.
These are the players I would trade outside of the Levine, DeRozan, and Vooch that you mentioned, CP. I'd also get ready to move Caruso. I just stripped this entire thing down. I look to move Caruso. Yeah. I look to move potentially Javon Carter. Like, those are the guys that even Torrey Craig, I'm looking to throw this entire thing into like full-on tank mode. Throw names that you don't even know out there, because you need some talent in this building. And Caruso, I know, like, Caruso still got value around the league, defensive guy. Carter, solid backup guard if you need him off the bench. Torrey Craig, somebody's going to need a 3-and-D perimeter that's switchable. The one that's been very disappointing, though, CP, is Patrick Williams. Been very disappointing for the 4th overall pick for the Chicago Bulls. Like, you just got to figure something out, man. Like, you're still going to rock with Patrick Williams because you drafted him, but this team needs an overhaul in what they have on their roster.
Need an overhaul, man. So, but those are the games that we like tonight, and let's see what happens, man. Looking forward to it. We'll be back on Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern time with another edition of the NBA Report, man. Great show as usual. Salute to all the mods. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Salute to producer Alex. Salute to Alex. Yeah, producer. Salute to producer Daniel. Salute to producer Gamba, Tyler, the whole squad for putting the show together. Remember that the show is available in audio podcast format, so no reason to miss it. We are on all major podcast platforms. Coming up 6 p.m. Eastern time, I will be on Bleacher Report previewing this Knicks versus Spurs matchup. We're going to talk about the Knicks, state of the squad, as usual, on my Bleacher Report stream. And then I will be at the Garden, 7:30, Wembanyama debut at Madison Square Garden, man. So it's going to be an action-packed night. And as Daniel's showing my free throw form, working on it. Definitely working on it, man. But Al, I'll see you tonight for post-game. And for you guys on the NBA Report, we'll see you guys on Friday, man. Peace.